Welcome to ONV Respect the Game. How's everybody doing today? We're here today trying to give out some good information and trying to enlighten you with our presence today. We got a lot of interesting topics today as far as like the WNBA, the new, all kind of different information about the student athlete, so we're going to get busy real quick. We're going to get a prayer in and start the show.
All right. I was told I was looking like a bishop today, so I guess I'm going to lead us in prayer. Let's bow our heads. Lord, we come to you on this beautiful day, the day that you have created for us all. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Without you, there is no us. Just help us to have as Mike said, a great informational talk today, and hopefully someone will get something either informational or entertaining from our talk today. Thank you for all you've done and all your blessings. In your son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. It must have been the sweater, boy.
The Deacon Dr. Doug.
Hey, T.D. Jakes better watch out.
Hey. Very smooth with it. Very smooth with it.
Okay.
We appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
So let's get going. The WNBA is a done deal. We got us a new GOAT, as I heard, and I'm gonna let you explain that, Bruce. You was telling me that.
Yeah, I had a conversation with our everybody's cameraman.
Hold on, first, man. Y'all get ready to jump off into it. First off, we're gonna give Shalante her props. She sat right down there in that chair. Everybody picked aces up here. I was a contrarian, but she called it out. They overmatched the Mercury. I'm gonna give her that. Couple shots here or there, but at the end of the day, the Aces won. They third in 4 years, and Asia Wilson is staking her claim as best ever. Take it from there, Mr. Stevens.
Like I said, I was talking with Mike the last show we had, and he's a huge Asia Wilson fan. And he kind of hit me with, Asia's the GOAT. And being the old school guy that I am, I'm like, I'm not sure about that. Because when you look back at it, you look at accomplishments. But first one for me, is, when it comes to WNBA, that is, was Cynthia Cooper. I mean, nobody did it any better than her, the way she led her team. And then you've got, I look at it and go, who's better than Maya Moore? Maybe Diana Taurasi, some few there. And I'm just talking about WNBA. If we go way back when we were coming up,
Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller is always going to be the GOAT for me.
Yeah.
But she never got a really chance to play in the WNBA because of injuries.
Right.
But when you look at, and we talked about that. I said, I don't believe she has the best skill set in the league, but man, her heart, her fire, and she's clutch.
Yeah.
And if you look at all of her accomplishments, you got to put her up there.
Man, she got all the accomplishments.
Yeah.
She got, 4 MVPs, 3 Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star Games, MVP. What haven't she done?
She's a stat sheet stuffer. She does it all.
She's quiet with it, though.
She actually can dish that thing, too.
Yeah.
She plays. And like I said, my thing for me, and we've talked about this on these previous shows, that USA team, when you look at Asia and Breonna Stewart, to me, they were stars amongst stars. And that's what set it off really for me. But
she's the alpha among alphas. She's the lead dog. She's a great leader. If you looked at the interview, Chelsea Gray, the point guard as they call her, she even, said, hey, this is our leader right here. And you can tell they thrive off of her. And if you look at that team when they were 14-14, and I think it was the Mercury had beat them by 50, or no, Minnesota beat them by 50. They were dead. And there was nobody, everybody was complaining about, man, she needs some help. And I said, she needs some help. She got 4 Olympic players playing with her.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, but it took a while that they finally, and then for them to go out there and get the Alyssa Smith trade to help them, I think she led them. And so I don't know if I'm ready to declare her number 1 all time, but she's in the top 3. She's in the top 3.
And I was going to say, and just listening, you're right. She's doing what she do. But talk about her supporting cast. She got a heck of a supporting cast.
She does. She does.
That helps.
Yeah.
Because it ain't like you could double or triple team her because you got the
She gonna
killers out
dish it
there.
to 'em.
That-
She gonna
yeah.
give it to 'em, too.
I mean, for a team that traded Plum, and we
Right.
know that's what they won. They traded Plum, so that's when you got the rough patches.
Yep.
And then you still, like you said, you pull off and you hoodwink some folks on another trade. You just really reloaded.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big values.
And the Gold Mamba wasn't doing what she's known to do. It took her a while. She didn't start say, "Hey, to put me on the bench, I'm gonna come off the bench and play." But boy, those two Indiana girls, without them, I don't know if they would have won it though. Because you expect Asia to go 34 and 13 or 14, and I'm not trying to lower her her accomplishments because they had to win with her. But like you said, if they don't, I mean, what was it 2 or 3 games in a row in the final series where the first half they had 9 threes?
Yeah.
I mean, they were burying them. They were burying them, and that's all because of her. Because you had we gotta dig again. We gotta sag down. Now you're shooting open threes compared to contested threes, and that goes to her greatness also.
And the team battled.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
it wasn't like it was. I mean, even though they won, they was battling though. You know, so
And I still I thought the Mercury would fight a little bit harder, but they didn't quit.
They did not.
Even when they were down by 20 two or three times, they still came back. You know, not having Sably in that last game definitely hurt them. And AT got hurt in the third game, but she still came back in there with a triple double. But I didn't think they fought as hard as the Fever did. And I know I can be a little biased, but I thought the Fever fought a little bit harder than what Phoenix.
No, I would agree with that 100% because that's what I kind of like. That was the first thing that stood out to me because if you remember in my analogy when Tay was talking about how the Aces was going to run away with it, this, that, and I said, hold on. We watched the Fever with their backups, backups, play them hard. So then you're right. When that series rolled around, I was thinking about myself, man, the Fever played them a whole lot better than they did, you know, just off of going at them. So,
But you know, Jay, we all know as far as coaching, a lot of it is matchups.
yeah.
It's how you match up against certain teams and what you have. But I don't know if anybody could have stopped that Aces team.
that's what I was just about to say.
I don't know if
I
anybody
saw
could
some
stop
sharks that smell blood.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Because actually, my brother, hey, Tracy, had text. I said, who going to win tonight? They going to get what? Oh, man, Aces going to blow them out. And sure enough, I mean, them sharks, they was smelling blood.
Yeah,
Shout out to our cameraman, Mike Banks. He done told y'all all along, and y'all going to listen to him one of these days. Age is the best player ever, and the Aces is all that in the bag of chips.
Hey, Apple Orchard News, baby.
Yeah.
A-OK. Shout
Only thing I'm
out.
gonna say is congratulations to the Ace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we
They
go.
did
Yeah.
their thing. Shalante did. Me and Shalante did say they was gonna win.
It was unanimous.
Yeah,
up here.
I
I didn't want to
said
make
it.
it unanimous.
Okay.
It was.
Hey, and I'll be honest with you.
I picked them for a starter. They point
Yeah.
what she pointed out, but I was like, yeah.
and I picked them also, but I really wanted to see Phoenix.
Yeah.
I like
I did
Alyssa Thomas. I wanted to see her do some things also, but you can't take away from what they did, and not just I know we're talking about the gold and Asia and all that, but man, the WNBA just blew up this year.
Without a lot of superstars.
Exactly, and they did it
without
without
these
Caitlin Clark.
superstars. What you said, these
You can say it. They did
Yeah,
it
that's
without
what-
her, and that's what they needed.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what they needed.
They broke records for most
Yes.
watched finals, and that's the thing
Yep.
about that.
Yeah.
Like you said, without the superstar. But remember who said this? When Bruce was talking about the bad call, the Fever game, and I said, okay, so they're not gonna have the Aces in there. They're gonna have the no-name Fever in there. What do you think them numbers would have been?
Right.
I thought
You're
about
right.
that too when I
Right.
watched. They was talking about the records.
Oh
Man,
yeah, the Fever wouldn't have been in there any good. Playing Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Nobody
unless they
tuned
had,
into that.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
You're right.
nobody would have
Yeah.
tuned into that.
So
But-
hopefully she come back and and make a comeback, and
Yeah.
and then the Fever come and do what they
And stay stronger and stay healthy.
And I'm gonna say this too, and then we can get on to the next topic. But Asia Wilson, and I talked about this with AOK. She has benefited. I mean, regardless what it is, going to the perfect organization where my man is invested in them. They paying them players, but that's been quieted down where he paid.
Right.
They got in trouble.
Yeah.
But nothing ever happens. But so he's willing to pay his players. He markets his players. And they go out and they make the trades and they get the people that they need. So they put together a great squad, a great environment. they created something big out there.
But would you expect anything less from a Davis as an owner?
Just win, baby.
Yes, just win, baby.
And talking about getting paid, I'm finna jump ship real quick. The NIL deals that these college players are getting now. I know I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah, that's a nice transition.
Mm-hmm, it was.
Texas giving Manning all this money, and what is he producing?
He's producing ratings. That's basically what it's all about. You know,
he's still not winning.
Well,
right, but
go ahead.
The colleges can talk about winning, and I get it because the more you win, and think about this: if you're in the Big Ten, you don't want just Ohio State winning. You need Indiana to be where they're at because that brings more money to the conference. All right.
Yeah, that's coming up in a minute.
Early on, what Manning has done. Think about it. We never seen Manning in high school, but we was watching him.
Right.
You know, and that's the big thing. And Texas was on TV every big ABC game or whatever that's all it was about.
It's that Muhammad Ali effect.
Yep.
Like he said, hey, 100% of people coming to watch him.
Okay.
90% coming to watch him win, 10% coming to watch him lose.
Because my thing is, I need to know if you're getting all this money and they're expecting you to be the next Heisman Trophy winner and blah, 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 and you dropping eggs to me. Because they playing good teams now.
No, they not. But I mean, we already talked about that. He didn't put up numbers against bad teams or the lower level teams. But the bottom line, I mean, it's not just Texas paying. This dude getting money from endorsements. I mean, he's up there. He's grossing just. I mean, I'm tired of the eyeglass. You know. Yeah. So, but as far as Texas is concerned, any of these colleges, that's what they supposed to do. Pay to get the best players they think they're supposed to get. Mm-hmm. You know, we just know Manning. There's a whole bunch of. I mean, you think about Texas A&M. Do you know? Well, they're actually winning now.
They win,
but they've always had one of the highest payrolls. And what have they won?
So let me ask this question real quick. So a team like Indiana, who's doing their thing, and should they get more NIL deals? And
all that comes,
that depends
Michael.
on
all that
I'm
comes.
asking the question.
But that's the alumni. That's the alumni. That's the people around. Remember when NIL really first started, and I think they just changed it last year. They allowed the university to play more money. That money wasn't coming from the university. It was more coming from boosters.
It still is.
Dealers. They did say something where they allowing the school to pay.
Correct, but it still is.
The majority of it.
That's coming the boosters.
So that's why they're making it illegal now.
Yes,
with the boosters.
Well, making it more. Yeah, but so it's not as much. You saying should they get? Yeah, that depends on your alumni people. If you're going to consider or you find some big person say, hey, here's $50 million. Go out and get so and so.
Yeah, and we talked about that. It's the same. You go back when SMU and the Pony Express and all them. I mean, now it's the exact same. That oil money, you're not going to compete with guys that want to kick in and ante up for their team.
Yep.
IU is going to struggle in that regard. And while you playing, Stignitty is doing a great job because when NIL first came out, one of the first things people talk about was how IU and Purdue wasn't going to be able to compete.
Right.
Because when you look at the going rate for offensive linemen,
right,
you can't afford that. You know, IUs and your Purdue's, you can pay some skilled people. But when you start talking about what really makes the team go, them building blocks, it's hard to compete with that. So
he done a great job as getting the linemen because they're great. I mean,
then the scheme and the X and O, just like he said, going up to Oregon. I don't know if he said, hey, they rotating guys on that line. You know, they rotate 3 or 4 at a time. We can't compete with that.
Right.
But what we can do is our scheme.
Yeah.
And that cat, that's what he does. He take what he has and they put you, some heck of a scheme.
It was very impressive how he came back how they came back from the interception.
Right.
And went strong.
Yeah. And as you know, what JJ said, you know, he said he couldn't compete with Oregon because of how they rotated. So guess what he did? He sped up the offense so they couldn't substitute.
Right.
Which then allowed those guys to tire out more.
Right.
Then he could run the ball and then get the ball to his playmakers when he needed to. Right. And I agree with you. When they threw that interception, I said, oh, okay, here we go right here.
Mother Mo.
Yep, here we go right here. But I'm impressed with IU. But you know, we talk about NIL, but what we do forget to talk about is no one talks about all the money that the coaches are making. You know, think about it. You can fire a guy and still paying $49 million.
Yeah. Penn State.
Yes.
Frankly.
And he wasn't the highest paid. He's not the highest paid. So, you know, college sports is not a business anymore, and I know we discussed that. We're going to talk about
another transition, baby.
Right? Yeah, another transition. We talked about student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, student athletes are only in high school.
Mm-hmm.
In certain conferences or in colleges, I mean, almost all colleges, these guys are professional amateurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to correct you there, Stevens. No, you're exactly right, but I'm just going to add on top of that. When you say certain schools, even before NIL, it was a business.
Oh, yeah.
Because to your point, college coaches always been getting paid, and they will tell you, hey, I need to feed my family.
Yep.
And they get your butt out of there quicker than you could, say, hey.
You're right.
But the bottom line now, it becomes a business because you're right. The kids are getting paid.
Right.
But I mean, everybody is getting paid around college athletics. The young lady, what's her name? Her dog, the point guard for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
What's my man? Came from ESPN, but the radio show was down there. Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick.
Yeah.
They were in South Bend for the big game, and so he had her on, and asked her, said, "Is this a business?" And she was like, "Yeah, pretty much." Like, hey, she talked about her agent. He said, "How do NIL work?" She said, "Shoot, I don't know. Hey, they just called my agent, and I do this, that, and the other."
And now they get to have agents.
Yeah,
but
remember back in the day, if you had an agent, you was automatically lost your eligibility.
Eligibility, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's crazy how that is.
Yeah, right.
But think about, we talked on it right here on this show about, remember LSU, and like we talked about the gifts. Adrian Reese and them, hey, all the Gucci bags and the purses and flying the team, this, that, the other. Caitlin Clark took her teammates out on the yacht. I mean, we had Yana. She kind of, talked about what Paige did for them.
Yeah.
It's a bit. Think about being that age, man. You back at anywhere from 800 to $1 billion. I mean, come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you got people walking down the runway now in Vogue magazine, and
nice.
Victoria's Secret,
yeah.
They
So
say first
I mean, it is a business, and so I know we were going to talk about student athletes, and I know when I was coaching, we always discussed that with our players. We always talked about it, and even with the parents. And one of the first things I always said was, remember, there's a reason why the word student comes first.
So let's talk about that.
When you say that.
Yeah, let's talk about the student athlete. The what's going on in our community. We hear a lot of negative things about our players not doing the things they're supposed to be doing as a student athlete, and that's being in the classroom, doing the work in the classroom, and whatever. So how do y'all feel about that?
Stu, go ahead.
No, I mean, let's be honest. It's nothing new, I think the more I guess how I feel about it more, the way I feel about it nowadays is it's a surprise that we can't get players to concentrate more in the classroom and do the right thing. Because I'll be honest with you, just from coaching and looking at some of the things, I think being a student is easier. Now, when I say easier, I'm talking about academic compared to than it was when we were in school. So academically, some things that they have them do. I mean, you got Chat GPT and things that they can just get stuff like that. Ain't nothing more Dewey Decimal System and
I mean, the online courses.
Right.
So let me ask this question to you, Jay. What is the coach's responsibility as far as like doing the discipline when they're not being a student athlete? Because I'm just gonna keep it real. We're hearing a lot like people are playing, but not being the student. Not passing the classes. Shouldn't we be doing something about as a coach?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're talking about Indiana high school athletics, we have the IHSAA. They've got guidelines where if you pass 70% of your classes, you're allowed to participate. So I'm sure coaches. I mean, that's the standard. The standard is the standard, so they allow their kid to play. You have some coaches that take it to a whole nother level. They're not worried about the IHSA standards. They have their own standards. And if you got 5 Ds and 2 Fs, no, you're not gonna play. They're gonna pull you. They're gonna set you. They're gonna get you all the help that they can.
And you got 3 coaches sitting here. That's the standard that he just talked about.
Correct.
The problem is you're going against coaches that don't have that standard.
Right.
Well, nowadays y'all say coaches that don't have it, but there's a lot of cases, and we got parents that talk about.
Oh yeah, you're right.
What do you mean my kid can't play?
You're right.
They know them standards that I just read off.
Right.
He's eligible.
Yep.
And they go up there, and you sitting there, you talking to an AD. But then long as that's the key, having everybody on board, and you setting up a culture that everybody understands. Stops that I done had. There's been. The principals or the ADs like, no, go to talk to coach, whatever he say.
Yeah.
And we go from there.
And that's where we need to be at, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you say, this is what we believe in, man.
Right.
If you're not going to be doing the things you're supposed to be doing in the classroom.
It ain't about our belief. It is not about our belief, Mike. It's about we know what it takes to succeed, and you don't want to set kids up for failure in the long run.
Right.
We're holding them accountable and having expectations, and there's so many people you don't have expectations or low expectations for some of our athletes. That's not good. So no, that's not.
Which that would still be our belief.
Well,
I'm
I'm
saying
going to let him go with
belief
that.
Hey, you Catholic, I'm Protestant. That's what
And I'm Baptist,
there
right?
you go. So that's what I just want to clarify. That's
But
what I
no,
know. But yeah.
Right.
Well, it's in our heart to do what we're supposed to do to make sure our kids are successful.
But it goes back because we've been through what they're trying to get to. So we understand that if you're not doing these things, once you get to the next level, it makes no difference.
So
now, the next level has changed since we've been there.
come on,
It's changed since we've been there.
But I'm going to get to the next level because even everything we talking about, NIL and it's a business, okay. I don't give a dang if you making $1 million all 4 of your years. You got to know what to do with that money. It's not going to last. Exactly. You got to know how to handle it. So I'm still hoping that somebody is there setting boundaries, laying a foundation for these young people for life after that sport. Think 4 years is not a big window, people.
Man.
And I said $1 million. Not everybody's making no big.
Right.
More or less, I know some kids making $800,000. I know some making $600,000. But that money is not. That's That's a lot for that age. But all depending on what you're doing. It's going quick at that young age. Yeah. What are you prepared to do? I hope somebody is there teaching them some financial literacy. I hope you're there being that student. So when you come out or when your sport is done, you can fall back in your field of study.
Yeah, I'm just back on that. How we're allowing, and when I say we, I'm talking about as coaches allowing these young people not to understand how to be successful. This because of a win or trying to get a win.
Right. And kind of back what JJ said, and I'm with what you're saying, but we always say the coaches, because it is the last one. Coaches, if they win, it's the great players. If they lose, it's the coach's fault. It's always on the coach.
Right.
But you got to go back, not just coaches. Now there's parents and there's administrators that is allowing these things.
That's the culture that I'm talking about. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and
everybody got to be the same
and they're allowing that. We've never had that. Everywhere I've ever played, it was always academics first. And when I coached, that's how we did it at Harding. Right, yeah. I mean, we had kids that were eligible by the state rules, but they weren't eligible by our rules. And we were even willing to lose state championships because of it.
And that's my point. I mean, once again, we're talking about the negativity that some of us are bringing to the table because they're trying to win a state championship,
right.
And we're trying to build up young men to be men, right. and go on to the next level, and it just hurts, man. When you see it, and the parents are cheering and allowing it to happen.
Right.
The AD is allowing it to happen. And when a good coach tried to change a young man's life, like you're going to be sitting until you grow, till you get your grades up. I done seen it.
Go ahead.
No, okay. I'm going to give you a quick story. And we can say everything there is about the coach, about the administration, principal. But I was raised by a grandfather that said it don't matter what they had to say.
Right.
If you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, you don't play.
Right.
And he told me that when I was in the 3rd grade. And I've never forgotten it.
Right.
So, I used to tell teachers, there's nothing you can do to me that's going to be what I have to deal when I get home.
Right.
And so it has to go back to that. It still has to go back to the parents saying, hey, coach, I understand, but he's not playing today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how I am with my family, with my grandson.
Yeah.
You know, it's law. You don't do what you're supposed to do. I don't care what they talking about. Your butt gonna be. Matter of fact, you're not even gonna dress until you get to who you supposed to be.
So basically, what you're talking about, you saying it should be a partnership. Because again, you start out with the coaches, but actually you're saying it's that home that's laying that foundation, and that coach should be there to reinforce, and that's exactly right. Because if you saying, hey, what the coaches should be doing and they ain't doing, but at home, hey, they don't care. I mean, that's a problem. They should be, to Bruce's point, coming up talking to that coach. We're gonna do about his grades. Hey, something going on here. What we got going on, but that's not always the case. And I mean, I'll tell you, and just putting it out there, when I applied to Southside, I went through the interview process, and they had a parent in there, and we had a gentleman who actually knew I was at Harding. He was in the building, and he was in on the interview process, and so he said, hey, Jay, tell him about the academic, the program that you put in place. And so, okay, broke it down. We talked about it, just kind of like the example that I gave. And that parent, he's like, what? So hold on. What does a basketball coach have to do with academics? He says, so you telling me, if my son had a C, you felt like he should be an A student, and you would sit him. I mean, hey, I was like, whoa, but but then I explained it. Y'all know how I am, but I explained it. And we went from there, but that's just that's a mentality.
That's how it should be like that, though,
but
man.
You know what?
Expectation.
Yeah, but we say that. But again, back to him, starts at home.
Yeah. But when they say that, well, what does a coach have to do with it? What they don't realize, and we've all been through it, when a kid is struggling, who do they call first? It's the coach.
Yeah.
If the coach knows, as a majority of the time, we're the ones calling the parents to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what we need to take care of. Little Johnny may not be, he's not even practicing right now until we get some things together. And I always was like, and I'm not sending little Johnny home.
Exactly.
Little Johnny staying right here, and we're going to make sure he finishes this. Exactly. He ain't practicing, but we got someone that's going to sit there and tutor and study him. I used to have study tables, and I'm sure you guys did the same thing. And my study tables wasn't based on if you got A's, B's, C's, and hey, you got to be in study table if you got a D. I had a guy one time who says, Coach, why am I in study table? I'm number 4 or 5 in my class. I said, yeah, but ever since I've been coaching, you got all A's, and this report card says you got a B. We're going to get that up because your expectations are higher. Because once you leave here, it's going to be a lot different.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this. To your point, to that coach or that isn't about to write, that's just worried about some wins, and they wouldn't give a dang about what a kid is doing in the classroom or building a character or whatnot. That's why parents are definitely important. Because you know what I'm saying? Who are you sending your son or daughter to?
You're right.
You need to be on top of it, because if he don't care, you got to stay on the grades. As he said, his grandpa, and I'm sure, like he said, that's how we always raised. They didn't give a dang what the coach said. We was taught, hey, you handle your stuff and listen to what he say. They, they took the load off their plate.
Right.
Yep.
So,
my thing, my whole thing with that, man, I'm glad we're talking about it, is that I hope somebody's getting something out of this. We're not just talking just to be talking, because we got to make a difference. We got to make a change in our community, and it starts with us. It starts with us as coaches. It starts with us as parents. It starts with us as administrators. We all got to be on the same team.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say get something out too, because I hope people are listening. Because NIL be damn, it don't matter. You still need your grades to get to that next level.
Now that's what JJ, I know. He said dang. He never said dang in his whole life.
Hey, man, that's something.
That's another story.
Okay, all right.
But
stay tuned for that one.
Anyway, you have to handle yourself in the classroom, because there are NCAA requirements, regardless of what level you are.
And
academics are important.
It don't matter what level.
You're right.
It doesn't matter,
because
the most important thing is we hoping at any level we got people there that's going to make a difference in your life, in your kid, in all the kids' life, to where they could keep moving to the next level with ease. And that's the most important thing that we're trying to get it for them to understand. It's gonna be very interesting this
Right.
this season.
Right. And the way
This boy sound like he got some inside information.
Yeah,
This boy got some inside information.
But, you know, I will say this: you look at the football coaches and the basketball coaches too, but majority of the football coaches now, I think, I look at it and heck, we've coached a lot of those kids, so I think. I call them kids, but they're grown men coaching now. But I think they, the philosophies that we gave them, I think they're doing the same thing with their parents, and I think our youth are going to be okay with what we have here. So I know we have to leave.
I know we're going to wrap this up, but we're going to come back to this.
Yeah,
because I think we need to start bringing out some information and getting into the deeper part of sports. I know we're having a good time with the WNBA and the baseball and the Pittsburgh, football, and everything. So last,
they play tonight.
Yeah, they play tonight. So
but speaking of NIL, we can't leave without talking about our NIL. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Respect the Game.
Get it out, boy. Get it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stumbling and bumbling. Like, share, subscribe. Get you in the back of the head. God.
Well, I can't wait till we get to put some in these.
And as always protect your mind.
Respect the